Alberto makes its move towards the Florida Gulf Coast. The question is, how bad will it be? What about here in Tampa? This is Mike Seidel, North Redington Beach. We'll have a complete look at the impacts and a check-in with our hurricane expert from Hurricane Central, Dr. Steve Lyons, coming up.
And I'm Jeff Morrow in St. George Island, Florida, just east of Apalachicola. Getting a little bit of wind and rain here. How bad will it be here up into Apalachee Bay? We'll talk about that in a live report in a moment.
And it's a blessing and a curse for Florida. We'll show you how Alberto is opening the floodgates for the Sunshine State. Tropical storm Alberto getting closer and closer to the west coast of Florida. The area is underneath a hurricane watch and a hurricane warning as well. Hello, everyone, and welcome to PM Edition. I'm Jennifer Lopez.
And I'm Carl Parker. Just like last year, we are off to an early start this year. And let's take a look at what's going on the radar picture. This is going to be one of the biggest impacts of this particular system. Very heavy rain across much of the state of Florida, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. There certainly could be flooding in many areas, but we do need the rain up and down the state. There's been a serious drought, and that is certainly going to help with that. Let's talk about the latest numbers here. First of all, the wind's now 70 miles an hour. That's just shy of what you need for a hurricane, so it may become a hurricane, although it does appear to be weakening over time here. Notice that it's moving towards the northeast at about 10 miles an hour. You can see what it looked like earlier today. Great big ball of convection. I mean, this thing looked very healthy early today. Then dry air was drawn into the system, so it may have a harder time making it to hurricane status. But again, there's going to be heavy rain, and there could be water level rises from Cedar Key on north and westward to Apalachee Bay on the order of 6 to 9 feet. So this thing is not going to be benign. Hurricane warnings are in effect in these areas of northwest Florida. Jennifer?
And we have crews spread out around Florida tonight. Meteorologist Mike Seidel is in North Redington Beach. Jeff Morrow is in St. George's Island. And our hurricane expert, Dr. Steve Lyons, is standing by to give us the latest on the next phase of Alberto. Again, we have team coverage this evening and a lot to talk about, so let's head up to Jeff Morrow. He's across the panhandle of Florida and St. George's Island. And Jeff, again, looks pretty bad out there, but what have you been seeing as you've been there for the past several hours?
All right, well, we arrived here about 3 hours ago, and it's been a pretty steady rain. In fact, we were kind of lucky to get into Tallahassee when we did before the heaviest rain came in. But on the drive down here, which took us about 2 hours or so, we ran in through some pretty heavy rain squalls, and that's pretty much been the worst of it right now. There is a pretty stiff wind at my back, and behind me is the Gulf of Mexico. Just talked to a surfer that just came out of the water. He estimates the wave heights at about 8 to 10 feet right now, so it is kicking up here, and the waves are kind of coming in at an angle, so I can't rule out that there might be some minor beach erosion out here. As a matter of fact, let's go to the radar and we'll show you there's a big band of heavy rain just to the south of where I'm standing. I'm in kind of the lighter rain, but as this tropical storm Alberto goes by and we think moves by just to our south and east, we'll kind of get the northwest side of it here, so the wind should stay out of the southeast or east and eventually go around to the northeast. We'll get some heavier rain as it goes by. The wind might get a little bit stronger from what it is right now, but that's probably about it. In fact, I think we can go ahead and take a look at the forecast here and show you what we're expecting. Again, wind and rain as we head through the overnight hours tonight. There are some mandatory evacuations here in Franklin County, particularly over at Alligator Point and some low-lying areas along the immediate coast. But right here where we are, there are not mandatory evacuations from what we understand. We're going to be talking to the fire chief a little bit later this evening, and they're in a meeting right now, and they're going to decide exactly what they want to do out here on St. George Island. So again, kind of ominous. Here we are again in June, and we're already talking about a tropical system, almost a hurricane, although Alberto, not quite at this point. But I don't like the looks of having to stand out here this early in the season, guys.
Yeah, that is kind of scary, Jeff. You just did it last year, and here we are again. What kind of a wind are you getting out there right now?
All right, it's right at my back, as I said, so that's coming out of the east-southeast. I would say probably not more than about 30 miles an hour, 30, 35 in gust, if that, mostly staying in the 20s. So it's not a terrible wind, and it's worse, of course, out here on the beach, a lot of sand blowing up, but we expect it to get a little bit worse probably gust over tropical storm force as we head through the evening.
All right, Jeff Morrow, thank you very much for that report. Let's take a look at the system on satellite right now and show you what's going on. And you can see on the visible satellite picture that the thing is actually becoming a little less organized. It is not that well organized because drier air has been drawn into the system. Here's the visible satellite picture for you right now. You see the center of circulation. Notice how the convection is separated from that center of circulation. You want to see the thunderstorms co-located with the center for more developments. This is why we think that there may not be that much development from this point on. Again, there is good news here. We've had a serious drought across the state of Florida. There's going to be a lot of beneficial rain, very heavy rain in many areas for the next few days as the system moves up towards the north and east. We think it will continue across northern Florida and eventually make its way towards the southeast coast, at which time it may reemerge into the open waters of the Atlantic. We've got much more on this coming up. Jen?
All right, we're going to continue to track the storm as we go through the night as the waves continue to really whip up the coast of Florida.